Now there's two ways that we could do menus. I'm actually going to show you, well, I mean, there's one way to do the menu, but two things that you can do with it. There is having like a black background, so then that way only the buttons show up, or to dress something up here on this stage, so then that way we can then make this into the main menu. So I am going to go, let's say, to menu 1, and inside, or we can right click and say level to create a new level. So let's do that, and let's also keep this in content first person maps, which is where the rest of our maps are. So let's create a level. Let's call it main menu map. Let's double click on it and go ahead and open it up. Okay, so by default, this is a blank menu, so this is good. So we'll do that one first, and then we'll go back and look at what we can do to create a menu from a level that has something already in it. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do on the main menu is that we need to create the heads-up display. So let me pull this back just a little bit, and let me right-click in this area, and let's go ahead and go User Interface Widget Blueprint, or create one. And here we're going to call this main menu widget. Okay, so then we have the main menu widget, and if we double click on the main menu widget, we will then open up its designer panel. This looks very similar to where we did the health bar, because it's essentially the same thing. And this time, instead of grabbing a progress bar, though, what we're going to do is we're going to grab a series of buttons. So let's grab one button and another button, and those are going to be both the play button and the quit button. Now, the first thing we need to do is make these things large enough, so let's make them a little bit like that, and I'm going to hover this one close to right there. Now from here, when I select on this button, I should come over here to the side, and it would give me the size and both the X and the Y axis. So let's go ahead and make these even numbers, like 500 to 100. And let's go ahead and do the same thing with the other one. So we'll double click on that one, make it 500 by 100. All right, from there we need to line both of these up so then that way they appear in the middle of the screen. And the other thing we need to do as well is add text to them. So what we can do, there's actually two ways that we can add text. So we will come here to the palette panel, grab text, and we can drop it directly onto the button. Or we can grab text and then move it down here to the hierarchy panel and drop it there. And you'll see that in both cases, the word text block shows up there. Now, before we move on, since we're talking about the hierarchy panel, let's go ahead and name these buttons so then they're just not random buttons like button 274. Let's go ahead and call this the play button. Okay. And let's call the other one the quit button. So let's right click on that and let's hit rename and quit. This time I'll leave it as quit underscore button, and maybe I'll do that with the other one too. Leave an underscore just so that way they're both the same. Okay, so once those have been added, let me go in there and change the, since we're in the hierarchy panel, let's change the text for this, and let's come over here and type in play, and I'm going to change the size to 50, so then that way the button is actually, the text is actually readable. And let's go to the second one, which is the one for quit, and let's type in there quit. Let's say quit game. All right, same deal. We're going to make this 50 so the button actually shows up large enough. Now, also, right here we do have information for the buttons themselves, the color and their appliance. Where is it? Behavior. There should be where their color states are. Oh, because I'm silly. I'm in the text. Actually click on the button, and if you click on the button, you will then see appearance, style. Let's see. So you do have a normal, a hovered, and a pressed state. So if you wanted to, you could go through and change the color of these. So we're underneath normal. Let's draw on the tint, and let's make this say let's make this one purple. when it's in its normal state. Let me move that out of the way so I can click OK. And let me say on its hovered state, let's change the tint to red. And if we were to then press the button, let's say it would become green at that point. So let's go here and let's make this green. Okay, so if we wanted to test this now, we could, first we would have to compile, play, and honestly, we still would not be able to do this because we have not added this to our viewport yet. So we'll leave this button there with the colors in there, and we'll test that in just a second as soon as we actually add this to the viewport. Now, the next two things that we need to do is we need to go ahead and create the code for each one of these buttons. So if we have the button, selected, if we scroll down here to the very bottom underneath the designer panel, we'll actually see that we get a on-clicked command, so an event. So if we go ahead with the play button selected, let's go ahead and click the button played command, and let's drag off of here and let's type in open level. All right. Now, if you've named your levels, this would be, for us, it's going to be level 1. It could be whatever level you've decided it's going to be called. But now we have, when this button is clicked, we are going to open up level 1. So I'm going to go ahead and compile that, and let's go back to the designer, and let's do the same thing with the quit button. So with the quit button selected, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and here I'm going to look for an event, on clicked, and push play. And so now again we're in the graph part of the editor, of the widget editor, and I'm going to drag off of this and type in quit game. All right, so there we go. So those are the two pieces of code that we need to have the buttons do what they need to do. And again, this was we're inside of the widget editor. We have the two buttons. We selected the button, and from there we scroll down to the bottom, or with the button selected, we could have come over here to the graph editor, and that was over there on the other side. So from here, let's go ahead and hit compile. And as far as the widget's concerned, that should be everything for now. And what we'll do is let's go into the main map. So we're going to double click on the main map. And in the main map, let's actually go to its blueprint editor, and let's open up its blueprint editor. So inside the main map, we now need to get the code to show up. So let's type in the code that actually will put this on the viewport. Okay, so in the main map editor, we're going to have these two events. We are actually going to use the begin event play. The tick we will get rid of. So from here, we need to do one thing. We need to pull out of this. We need to type in create widget. There it is, create widget. And inside the class, we need to tell it which widget we want to create. In this case, it was the main menu widget. And sorry about that. You know, you get tired after a while. From here, what we want to do is we want to drag off of the return value and type in viewport. Okay, add to viewport. Now, this would add it to viewport, but we wouldn't know where our cursor was, and we wouldn't even have a cursor. There would be no way to interact with these buttons. So what we need to do to get these buttons to work is we need to actually show the mouse. So let's type in show mouse, and to actually see this, we may need to click off of content sensitive, and there it is. So set mouse cursor. We need to make sure that it is turned on, so then that way we can actually see it. And what we need to target is the get player control. Get player. There it is, get player controller. Now what that basically is saying is that this is the mouse. This is what the controller is using, the player is using to control his character with. So we would have access to the mouse of the player, and this would then turn into it would turn into a mouse and we would be able to see that on screen. So with that, we should be able to hit compile and save, and we now should be able to play and see this. So there it is. Now we can check our hover state, and let's see if we push in, we do get the green. I'm going to not click on there. I just clicked on it, so then that way you can see that it was pressed. And with the other one, with the play button, let's see if that actually gets us to the first level. And it does. Okay, fantastic. So that brought us into the first level. Now, what we need to do let's, I'm trying to see what the next thing I want to do is. Let's actually go into level 2. Let's open up level 2 and let's create a run through this. So let's go through blueprint editor, and it was the event trigger box. So on actor begin overlap, which is the trigger box. So once we hit that, what we want to do is go back to main menu map. So let's type in main menu map, and let's go ahead and push compile and play. And let's start off with the main menu map and push play here. So we're going to push play into our level, and we're going to run through this. So level 1 should take us to level 2. Okay, we're in level 2. We have something shooting at us. And let's make sure that this then takes us back to the main menu page. So fantastic. So now we have that working. Now, a couple of things that some of y'all might notice about our main menu page. 2 things. If we, first of all, our health bar is there. So we don't need a health bar in our main menu prior to us actually starting the game. Now, the reason why this is there is because that health bar is attached to our first-person character. Since we are getting information from our first-person character, and our first-person character is technically created, it's there, it's sitting there, the health bar is showing up. So we need to find a way to be able to get rid of that health bar. The second thing that we're also seeing is this kind of like little red that's sticking up over the top of this. And that red right there is actually the crosshairs. If we were to move that button out of the way, when what we use to aim with, the crosshairs, are still on the page. So we need to also get rid of the crosshairs. And the other thing that's also happening is that we're getting the sound of the gunshot, right? So because that is tied into our left mouse click button and we are bringing our mouse into the game, we are hearing that sound. So let's go through and let's get rid of each one of those elements. So we're going to get rid of the health bar, we're going to get rid of the sound, and we're going to get rid of these crosshairs. So the health bar, like I said, is attached to our first-person character. So let's scroll back to content. Let's go to first-person VP. Let's go to blueprints, and let's go to blueprint character. Let me go ahead and stop that from playing. And the sound is actually going to be attached to our spawn projectile. If we were to come here to the end of the code where it spawns our first-person projectile, we'll see that we actually have something there that says play sound at location. So this is the part of the code that we need to add something to, so then that way when it knows that what basically the piece of code that we're going to add is we're going to add a Boolean statement that basically says if the name of the level equals main map or doesn't equal main map, then play this sound. So I'm actually going to just pull this open a little bit so we have some more room, and I'm going to grab these 2 pieces of code and stretch them back here, and I'm going to grab them both together. Anyways, there they are, and I'm going to go ahead and disattach this, so I'm going to break the link. Okay. So the first variable that we're going to need is we need to get the name of the current level. Now, thankfully, this is actually something that we have available to us already created. So get current, there it is, get current level name. Okay, now we can, so basically what we're saying is every time you shoot a projectile, get the current name, and then what? We need to get this name. So what we have here is a return value, which is actually, if you see there, it says return value string. So it's actually going to generate a string value. So it's going to give us the current name of the level as words. So if we drag off, before we drag off of there, what we want to do is look for one more thing, and we're going to type in name equals, okay. And in this case, it's going to be not equal, right? Because if this level does not equal the main menu, then we want the sound. So we're going to get something that looks like this. And the last piece that we need for this is a branch. So once I get all three of the pieces here, then we'll go ahead and start connecting them together. So those are the three pieces of code, or the three nodes that I need. Oh, and also before we do this, let me actually break that link, and we're going to need a sequence as well. So let me pull off of here and type in sequence because of the way that we need to get this to work. So sequence, there it is. So let me move these out of the way and we'll build it all at the same time. So the first thing that we need to do is, off of the projectile, or the spawning of the projectile, we need to connect the then1 to get current name. So then that way it goes and finds the current name of the level that we're in. From there, we're going to attach the return string of that to the input of the name does not equal, right? So what it's done is it's created a little extra box there, and that little extra box, as we see, converts a string into a name value, which is what this equation takes, which is a name value. So with the name there, we're going to then type into the bottom here the name main menu. So main menu map, which is the level, or the name of the level that we're working with, right, is main menu map. Let me move that a little bit more so we're not so tight on space there. Okay. Now, if you'll notice, you actually have a red Boolean pin that's coming off of this, which is what we're going to plug into the branch condition. So remember that the branch condition is basically saying that if this statement is true, if the current name of the level of the name equals main menu map, then we want you, or does not equal that, then we want you to go ahead and play this sound. So essentially what this code will be doing is making sure that anytime the name of the map does not equal main menu map, that we will get this sound. Now, before we leave, we do need to attach and connect the branch off of this, because there's no way to do it off of here. The best way to do it is just have it come off of the sequence. So we have the two pieces of the code, the conditional statement, the condition, and if the condition is true, map does not equal main menu map, we should no longer get that sound. So let's go ahead and hit compile and save, and let's go to that map. So we are in the main menu map, and let's just double click on there and make sure that we're in the right map. So main menu map, and let's push play. And now if we were to click anywhere on the screen, we no longer get the explosion sound. We have stopped that from playing. But now let's check the other thing. Let's go ahead and go into one of the levels, and we're going to shoot the projectile. Uh-oh, and we're not getting anything. So let's go back to first-person character, and let's figure out why this is not working. Okay. So we're saying, whoa, this isn't connected. So we weren't even projecting, we weren't even creating the spawning. So maybe when I disattach this one here, I disattach the one from the front. Let's compile and save. And we need a spawn location. So let's connect that. Sorry, that's my mistake. I must have disconnected all of this stuff earlier. Let me hit file and save. And let's see now if we push play. We again are not getting the explosion sound this time because everything is connected. Let's push play. Get our projectiles, and we do very much hear the sound again. And for fun, let's go into level 2 and see if we are also getting our sound in level 2, just to double check. Okay, so it's working in both levels. Fantastic. All right, so now that we know that that piece of the code is working, let's go back and see what it was. Let's go back to first person character. And this is what we want to copy. So we want to copy everything from the sequence down to the branch. If we copy those things right there, we'll be able to take this piece of code and move it over to the health bar. So let's type in, let's do that. Let's make this a copy. And let's move from the first person character to the health bar, or to where the health bar would be showing up. So the health bar, if we remember, our health bar is going to be part of also our first-person character. So let's go back to content, first-person character, blueprint, first person, and let's scroll up to the top, which is where I believe, yep, that's where that part of the code is. So I'm going to take these two and move them up just so that we have a little bit more space. And oops, that didn't go with. Let's put that here. And in this space, let's go ahead and right click, or I'm sorry, Control V to paste. And now we have this piece of the code. So let's zoom in. So very much like we did with the other one, let's attach the. And actually, do we want a sequence here? Since we've already got a sequence one there, I don't know if we want to have two sequences start. Let's just actually, this one will be, let's disattach this one, so we'll break that connection. We'll connect that to the first sequence, and let's add a pin here. Let's break this one and move it down to the second pin, and on the then one, we will connect this here. And actually, I want to get rid of that second one. Sorry about that. Okay, so now what we should have is we should only have one sequence. We've added an additional pin to it. We have connected to the very first one to get the name, right? So we're getting the name. If the name does not equal main map, then show us our health bar. So let's connect this here. So once again, the sequence, we've added an extra pin. The other pin we've reconnected to the VR, whatever this is. And the first pin is going to get event name or level name. If the name does not equal main map, then give us the true condition, which is give us the health bar widget. So let's compile and save and see if this is true now. So again, we are in the main menu. We're going to push play, and lo and behold, our health bar is no longer there on our main menu. Let's push play to see if we get our health bar in the first menu, and we do. Or in the first level, and we do. And let's see if we can go to the second level. And in this second level, we also get our health bar. We can see that our health bar is working, and so nothing has happened to the health bar. We can go back to, and then go back to that. Now, the last piece of this would be getting rid of that little line that's coming up through the middle. And that is actually on first person HUD. So if we double click on that, we will see that this is the code that's generating the crosshairs. I can tell that because here's the color for the crosshairs. Here's the X and the Y, and it's telling me how big the crosshairs are and where they are appearing on the screen. So what we'll need to do to get this one to work is let's detach this from here. So we just want to detach the first link and not everything. And let's Control V to paste the code that we need. This time we will need the sequence since we don't have one with this one. So we will attach the event receive draw HUD to the sequence. This will then look for the name. If the name does not equal main menu map, then we want it to continue on with what it was doing. All right, so let's hit compile and save, and let's see if this works now. So we're going to push play. And we now see that we don't have that little red line that was sticking up out of the top of this button. Let's push play, and we'll see that we do now have the crosshairs there in the middle of the screen. And just for fun, we'll go into level 2 and see if we also get the crosshairs showing up here as well. And we do. Fantastic. All right. One last thing that we want to do with this is... So one of the things that we forgot to do was to actually lock down the buttons themselves. So we're going to go back to Content, First Person, BP, Maps, and we're going to go back into the main menu widget. And if we click on there, right now these have not been anchored. So let's go ahead and anchor these buttons. So I'm going to click on the button itself, and you're going to see that we get this kind of like star thing that's up in the top top left-hand corner. And what this thing does is it anchors it to the page. It anchors the button to where percentage-wise where the screen will be. What will happen with this is that you have different size screens, obviously, and depending on the size of the screen, these buttons may end up in different places. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that it's always going to end up in the position that you want, and that both of these buttons relative to each other are going to show up in the same place. So let's hit the first button, and we'll grab the anchor and we'll move it down onto the page. And at some point you'll feel like kind of like a clicking in the middle, and that's actually the middle of the screen. So right there, I caught that one, and right there's the middle of the screen. So we also need to anchor the second button. So let's grab again the anchor point, click it on the middle, find the middle click, and we'll grab and find the middle click there. So this way, no matter what screen this gets opened up in, it will always be in the middle of the screen. So let's hit compile and save, and we should now be finished with our buttons. We have created a button. We have created a menu page. We have created an area for these buttons to be. We have created conditions as far as how the buttons interact, and we have made sure that the buttons themselves, if we were to click on them, the quit button takes us out of the game, and the play button takes us to the first level. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video and have a wonderful day.